I'm Lori Duchek, Information Officer with the Regional Emergency Operations Center, and I'm here with Incident Commander Daniel Klein for what has been one of several days of daily operational updates on the St. Mary's River Fire. This is Friday, July 28th, and we are filming this at 11:30 a.m. And Daniel, I guess just if you can let us know kind of the status of things out on the fire front.
Yeah, you bet. Happy to continue reporting that there's been no further growth. So we're up to 4 or 5 days of things remaining in control lines that have been constructed around the perimeter. On that, we just have a little bit more planned ignitions in these 2 areas that we've been talking about, but at this point they're nearly complete. We are going to be moving the status of the fire into being held. So people are going to see that on the public dashboard. We're no longer calling this an out of control wildfire. We're moving that into being held, and we're not foreseeing with intended weather, intended fire behavior, any of that kind of stuff, any more threats to current containment lines. So
awesome. That's great news.
Positive news.
And I guess just for clarification, just for people who aren't familiar with some of the wildfire terminology, being held doesn't mean that it's just all good and everybody leaves. It means that you're not anticipating it to grow beyond the current control lines and containment lines that you've talked about for the last few days with the resourcing and the predicted conditions, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Based on resourcing, predicted conditions, fire behavior, that kind of stuff. We believe that this fire no longer has a chance of escaping current control lines. That still means that we're going to be doing some burning and a little bit of removing of pockets of unburnt fuel. But the idea is that we no longer feel that there's a risk to where our containment lines are and no longer any kind of perimeter growth on this fire.
We've got the upper hand, which is great to hear, and that's obviously what everyone has been working so hard towards. So I know when we're talking about fire size, really the fire size itself hasn't changed in the last few days, but we are going to see a change coming to the number of people who are watching and paying attention on the map. Maybe you can just explain why.
Totally, thanks. If people have been looking on the public dashboard or website for fire information, they'll notice there that it's been holding at about 4,090 hectares. That is going to increase today, and that's because we finally updated based on this burning that's been occurring from the unit crews on the ground and ground personnel. These 2 areas in total have added about 500 hectares of more area burned. So the kind of perimeter of the fire hasn't increased, but people will see that the number of hectares burnt on the update today is going to show these additional areas that was planned ignition. So people will see on the dashboard today or on the public website that number will probably be up to about 4,600 hectares. And don't be concerned about that. That's just from these planned ignitions.
Super, and I think that's the big message, is that's part of the plan, not something that is new or unanticipated. So having said that, people can still expect to see resourcing on this fire. There's still going to be work underway. If you are in that area on any side of the fire, you will still see firefighting activity happening as they continue to work on this fire. So anything else you wanted to add?
Nope, I think that's great. We'll continue to resource as we feel is appropriate to make sure that we continue to build containment until we classify the fire as under control and then into being considered out. So this will continue to be resourced with contract crews, with BCWS crews that are coordinating. We do have equipment on standby. We still have aviation on standby to respond to anything that may occur here. So we're downsizing a little bit, but we are remaining with definitely adequate resourcing here to make sure that we really bring this thing across the finish line.
Excellent. Well, that'll be a day that we'll all be excited to see when the little dot turns from yellow to green. It's always a good day when I see that. So Daniel and his crew have been working obviously very hard behind the scenes on the operational side of the fire. His team, through the BC Wildfire Service information officers and also in conjunction with the Regional Emergency Operations Center, have been continuing to try to get this information on the fire out to you. So this this will be our last official operational video update on this fire, which is, I'm sure, bittersweet for people, but a sign of a great thing because we're making continued progress. You will still be able to get information on the fire on the Wildfire of Note page and through the Regional Emergency Operations Center info line for those of you without access to a computer who just like to check in. So all of those resources and the information will still be coming. Just today is sort of the last operational video update. And with that, I just want to, on behalf of everyone in the region, thank you and the greater team behind you who have worked so tirelessly on this fire. And it's really encouraging to see that we've moved in this direction, and we just can't thank you enough. And
Yes.
certainly, personally, a huge thank you to you for taking the time away from the fire line to be able to provide these updates to the public. I know it's been hugely helpful, and your time is gratefully appreciated. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Of course, yeah, happy to be here and happy to help. And team effort, like there are a lot of really skilled, experienced people that came together.